Welcome back, everybody. I'm Larissa. This is Silver and Red, and I read way too many books so that you don't have to. We're officially halfway through the year, which means it's time to film one of my favorite videos, the Mid-Year Book Awards. I've got to say, I've read a little bit of everything this year. Romance, dark romance, sports romance, Christian fiction, Christian romance, thrillers, horror, mystery, you name it, I've probably read it. I don't think we have to fit into one notch. One notch does not need to define us all. We don't have to pick one. We can pick multiple lanes like it's a superhighway. So today we're doing my awards for my picks for my favorite books of 2026 so far. They may not all be 5-star reads. They may not all be my highest rated, but sometimes books just stick with you. Sometimes you could read something that you think at the time is only 3 stars, and then it's 5 months later and you're still thinking about it. So for me, these are books from each category, or the categories that I'm picking, that live rent-free in my head. For some reason, they've just kind of wedge their way in there and I still think about them. So let's get to the awards. My first category, we're going to go with Best Contemporary Romance. And my first pick is going to be an ARC that I received, and it was a new author for me, Annabelle Monaghan, and it's going to be Dolly All the Time. This book shocked me. I didn't see it coming because it's not an author I've ever read before. I was kind of having not a lot of luck with ARCs at that point. They were okay, but nothing was blowing me away. And then I read this, and the first thing I will tell you was I was so grateful and happy that the MMC and the FMC, our main characters, were both over 30. Thank you. This book completely snuck up on me. What I really loved was the mature way in which the characters dealt with their relationship from beginning to middle to end. It was just a very well thought out and mature way to go about it. Go figure. The characters actually communicated. I know, tough concept in some of these books, but they communicated. There was no oh, what is he thinking about this for 5 chapters? No, they actually talked out their issues. And to me, there was an emotional depth that was more elevated than your typical romance. Annabelle Monaghan proves that she can tackle funny, witty story that handles real life issues, things that we all deal with. If you're looking for a romance that feels grounded, realistic, emotional, and incredibly satisfying, this one deserves a spot on your list. Second category is going to be Best Sports Romance. The winner, if anybody's been watching my videos over the last couple of months, should be no surprise whatsoever. Maybe which Windy City book it is, but it's definitely going to be a Windy City book for this year. And I'm going to go with Caught Up, which is book 3 in the Windy City series. So this is Kai and Miller's story with the added bonus of Monty, Miller's dad. Liz Tomforty's Windy City series is becoming a problem for me with my TBR because I keep deviating from the books I'm supposed to read because I want to continue on in the Windy City series and just keep moving along. And so I keep bumping out books I'm supposed to read or books that I said I was going to read to keep on moving to the next story. And I still have Play Along and Rewind It Back to go. Late summer, early fall, I think, is when I'm going to get to those. But Caught Up had everything I want in a sports romance. A swoony hero, great chemistry, strong emotional connection, and a relationship that really develops over the course of the story. This book gave me all the feelings and reminds me of why the sports romance genre is just one of my favorites. Best Dark Romance. First off, the thing I would say about this is the biggest surprise for me is the fact that I really love dark romance, but I haven't really been dipping my toe into that pool very often, which I think I use sometimes for when I'm in a slump or things like that, but I really haven't read much this year. And so of the dark romance books that I did read, my favorite for the year so far is going to be The Pucking Wrong Number. You know, dark romance is a category where I can be pretty picky. Well, first off, a lot of people look down on it. I don't understand why. Sure, it's dark, but there's a lot of even, regular lit fic that can be dark. So this is just a genre that it's like if you like watching scary movies, a movie like Scream, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, but is it a good time? Yes, absolutely. I feel like dark romance gets a bad rep. I think everybody feels like it 100% relies on a big shock value, and that's just not always the case. Sometimes they're just real stories that are a little bit grittier. And this one in particular balanced kind of like a dark tension with the fun fun you get from a hockey romance, and characters that I really just definitely wanted to keep reading about, in addition to them, their friend group, and further characters in this story. So I know it's a series, and I'm definitely going to be continuing on. The premise had me hooked immediately, just the fact that it was a hockey romance, and then it really intrigued me the fact that it was a dark hockey romance. I'd never even tried the genre before. Their banter was fantastic. It kept me hooked the whole way through. And honestly, if you have never dipped your toe into dark romance, this might be just the book to start, because it does have that element of being a hockey romance, being a sports romance, but also just, if you ever wanted to just dip your toe into the dark romance pool, this is probably a good place to start. My best dystopian novel, hands down. Well, I can tell you one thing, it's not Daggermouth. I know a lot of people really loved that book, but a book I just finished last week because I killed him. Oh my gosh. Again, I came off of Daggermouth a little let down. People are just going nuts about it, and I can see why people love it. It just didn't quite click for me. That's where Because I Killed Him did. For a debut novel, all the hype out there is, sometimes you never know which way that's going to go. It is absolutely warranted in this case. This book blew me away. It was smart, it was thought-provoking, and it delivered one of the most unique worlds that I've read this year. What really impressed me most is that this author, which actually is two sisters writing under one pen name, but these authors, they seamlessly blended kind of today's political commentary with a gripping story that you haven't heard before. This is a moment where, if you remember when the first time you read Hunger Games, if you read it when it came out, you knew it was a cultural shift. You knew it was something different. It was a movement in books. I want to say it's gonna be another shift in dystopian. I don't know what it is about it. I do know that I'm already anxious to reread it to see all the things that I missed. It's a lengthy book. It's almost 700 pages. But again, the second I finished, I almost immediately thinking about the fact that I want to reread this, and I'm really wondering what I pick up the second time. Probably too long to be just a movie. It's probably easily going to get picked up for a TV series, and hopefully it gets picked up by the right people, because this book has a lot of really good bones to it. I'm really excited to see what the reading world, the bookish world, does with this in the next few months. For best Christian kind of romantic suspense, or just romantic, one of my favorite romantic suspense, it doesn't even have to be specifically Christian, but I do read a little bit of everything, like I said. And so this is a genre that I feel like it's a shame that more people don't give a chance. If you can give the witchy world a chance, if you can give the dragon world a chance, and fae and powers and all of that, why not this? I just feel like a lot of people are missing out, especially if you like a good Hallmark cozy mystery. Sometimes you're just in that mood. While I may read dark romance, there's times where I just want cozy. I just want to sit back with a blanket and hot chocolate and just watch something cozy on Hallmark. And sometimes I want to read it. And this book definitely fits in that genre. Kind of an Ellery Adams type feel for the world, the town, the people, the friend group. Cozy, cozy, cozy. And this book delivered for me, and it was a killer on campus. It's actually an ARC, so it's not out yet, but it does come out this year, and I've got to say, I really, really enjoyed it. This category really doesn't get enough love. What really made this book stand out for me was how it balanced suspense and faith without sacrificing the story. The mystery kept me turning pages, the romance gave you all the feels, and the stakes stayed high all the way through. If you prefer closed door, if you prefer something that's clean, this is going to be the romance for you. Splashed with a little bit of suspense and tension, and honestly, I think this one deserves some attention. Best Romantasy shouldn't be a surprise to anybody either. It's going to be Reign of Shadows and Endings. We know this is not my genre, and so the fact that this book blew me away and I really enjoyed it, even though it's almost 700 pages, was a shock. Probably nobody was shocked more than me. The book had just incredible world building, compelling characters, side characters that I really want to get to know more about as well, and, enough intrigue to keep me invested from beginning to end and wanting more in the series. What really worked for me was that the romance part of Romantasy the whole book didn't depend on it. The world itself, there was so much going on that is where the story was, and that really kept me turning the pages. It's really gripping. The fantasy elements were strong enough to stand on their own, and I think that's really, what did it for me. Best thriller winner, thriller, mystery, psychological thriller. I guess you can kind of lump it all. Either way, it's all in this one book, and that is The Last Party by A.R. Torrey. This was a wild ride. I did a couple of reviews about this, and I will say the worst mom imaginable is in this book, and she is, just a vile creature. Every time I thought I knew where this book was going, it would like zig and zag, and I'd have to like catch back up and be like, oh, I didn't know. Like, or even if you do know a little bit of something, it's because the author is dropping breadcrumbs for you to kind of think you know what it is, and then again, boom, all of a sudden the trail zigs and zags, and you have no idea what is happening. A.R. Torrey is easily now on my auto read list. No matter what comes up, I'm going to be giving it a try. Pacing was fantastic. The suspense had me just waiting to find out what's coming, and the payoff was absolutely worth the journey. Book isn't all that long, but I swear it is a fast-paced ride from beginning to end, and there is no lulls from beginning to end. It's just fast, 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 constantly moving. Something is always happening. It's wild. If you haven't read it yet and it's not on your TBR, you need to put it there. If you love thrillers that keep you guessing, put this on your TBR immediately. My best horror, and you might as well lump in crime thriller, is going to be The Butterfly Garden, without a doubt. It's about 10 years old now, and it's still making the rounds. People are still talking about it for good reason. I will say this book is not for everyone, so please, please check your triggers. If you're somebody who does read trigger warnings and content warnings, this is a time where you need to, seriously. But if you can handle dark subject matter or you prefer it in your thrillers, this is easily one of the most unforgettable books I've ever read. The atmosphere, the tension, the psychological elements, everything in it is disturbing. I loved it so much, I went ahead and bought all 4 books in the series, which is the collector series, and I've already read all 4. If you haven't given The Butterfly Garden a try, please rush to your Kindle, rush to the library, rush to the store, and get this book. So as far as individual books go, that's the list. As far as what is my favorite series overall, I'm gonna have to go with a tie between the Windy City series and the Collector series. Totally and completely different genres. You know, you have your sports romance and then the other like complete horror, thriller, crime thriller, like just terrible subject matter, but engaging and thrilling and horrifying all at the same time. Both, I've got to say at this point of 2026, yeah, it's gonna have to be a tie. I don't think I can pick between them. One gives me kind of swoon-worthy romances and characters I never want to leave. The other gives me nightmares, and somehow I love them both equally. Again, if you've missed either of these series, now's the time you need to give them a try. Okay, so for 2026, midway through, what is my book of the year so far? And I've got to say, I can't pick one. We're gonna have to call it a tie between 2 books. We've got The Butterfly Garden, which just blew me away completely. I still can't stop thinking about this book. And then there is Because I Killed Him. And I think this book just might be the next big thing. These books could not be more different. One is dark and haunting, and I still think about it regularly. Other is this brilliant dystopian romance, similar to The Hunger Games, where it doesn't matter how old you are, you can find something to appreciate about the world in and of itself. Both of these books exceeded my expectations. Both of these books did the exact same thing to me, which is stay with me. They're books that I'm still thinking about. One was quite a while back, the other was recently, and I'm already ready to reread it. So that's kind of, to me, what makes a book not just good, but great. Before we wrap it up, I want to do a few honorable mentions. I was torn on a few of these categories. One is coming out this July, and the author and publisher asked respectfully for reviewers to wait until a couple weeks before it comes out. But I will say that an honorable mention for me for this year is the book Helpless by Jessica Knoll, and I will definitely be discussing that here in the next few weeks as far as a review goes. Then we have The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier, and again, this is a book that isn't new. It's been around a while, but I just somehow finally got around to it, and yeah, it still stays with me, and it's disturbing and just a really good read. And lastly, I'm going to go with an author I hadn't read before, which was John Marrs and The Family Experiment. I really didn't know what to expect from this book, and it had me just kind of waiting for more every second, start to finish. It's kind of sci-fi thriller. I don't know, but I definitely know I want more from this author. Any of those books could easily have won their categories if the competition wasn't so strong. And if they're already on your TBR, I would keep them there. So those are my books for 2026 so far. Now I want to hear from you. What is the best book you've read of 2026? And have you read any of the books that I just discussed? Let me know if you agree or if you think I've completely lost my mind. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really, really helps. And stick around because we've got plenty more hot takes, book reviews, and reading chaos coming your way. As always, thank you for spending your reading time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.